My name is Hanna-Reetta Luukkainen. I'm the head of customer data and loyalty services at K-Group. And today I'm here to tell you a bit more about how we try to empower our customers to live more sustainably with the help of their own data. First, I will give you a short introduction to what is K-Group, how a day is like in our company. And then I will tell you a bit more about the phenomena related to food and grocery shopping. After that, I will tell you about the creation and development process of K-Ostokset, which is an award-winning database service that we launched last year. And then in the end, I will summarize my presentation to 3 key learning points that me and my team have understood during the past 1.5 years. I think that most of you are familiar with our company. We are K-Group. We are one of the largest Finnish companies, more than 80 years old. We are a company that consists of independent entrepreneurs, K-Kauppias in Finnish, K-retailers, and the core of our business model is entrepreneurship. We employ altogether 43,000 people in 8 different countries, and we operate in 3 different business areas, which are grocery retailing, building and technical trade, as well as car trade. We have one of the largest loyalty programs in Northern Europe, and here in Finland it covers 88% of all households. During one day, we have more than 1.5 million visits to our almost 2,000 stores, which means that there are billions of rows of data flowing into our cloud. From data perspective, our company looks somewhat like this. During 1 year, an average loyalty household visits our grocery store around 97 times. In building and technical trade, an average household visits around 4 times a year. And in car trade, that's a little bit different business, and there an average household visits around 2 times. When we think about our one core asset, which is loyalty registered sales, we can divide it to 3 different layers. And how it looks like is it is something like this. Sorry for the very, very small print, but how we see receipts that are registered to loyalty cards, we see that there is this normal transaction data. So we understand that where was this purchase made, when was it made, and what was the worth of it. Then if it is loyalty registered, we can understand better that who made this purchase. What was the name of the customer? Where does he live? What was the size of the household? What kind of preferences does this household have? Can we say that this household values quality over price? Or is this household very price sensitive? Do these people in this household, do they like more vegetarian food or are they meat lovers? These are the things that we can understand from our data. The third layer that I would like to highlight in my presentation is the product layer. This is my receipt from a couple of weeks ago, and here we can see that, okay, the household where the main card holder is Hanna-Reetta Luukkainen, that one bought Pirkka Parhaat soft licorice, which is, by the way, a very, very good product. You should try it. And we can say that, okay, Hanna-Reetta bought quite a lot of sugar in this receipt. We can see that in addition to this Pirkka Parhaat pehmeä lakritsi, I bought Fazer milk chocolate bar, I bought Coke Zero, and I also bought rye bread. But these are the things that we can understand from our data, and this is something that we can see from the rear view mirror, that, okay, what happened at what point of time and where. So receipt data is always historical data. It tells us something about the history of this particular household. But if we want to understand the bigger picture, we need to think that which things are affecting these decisions that the household made. And we need to zoom out in order to understand the values, the themes that are affecting people's decisions. When we zoom out from these receipts to something bigger, we can see something like this. Food is a very complex theme. It can bring us happiness, but it also creates a lot of unhappiness. It is linked to many of the biggest problems in today's world. 1/5 of our carbon footprint comes from food. Only 1/4 of working-age Finns are normal weight. People are more and more aware of these things, and when they are more and more aware, they come to us and ask that, could you help me? Could you serve me products that would make me feel better? That would make me feel more healthy? And the key question is actually, how might we create services that help people to live more sustainably and be more healthy? A couple of years back, we started to dig deeper to these problems. We did extensive customer research and insight studies. And in the beginning of last year, the idea of serving customers with their own data came alive, and we launched this service called K-Ostokset. In this service, our loyalty member can see the purchase breakdown of the past 12 months. And for instance, I can see that how much I'm actually buying that Pirkka Parhaat soft licorice in a year. In addition to this purchase breakdown, we created this Kotimaisuustaso. A very bad translation would be domesticity score, which tells the customer that, okay, how much Finnish produce you have in your shopping basket in a year. In addition to this overall view and situational analysis, we created an action for the customers. So the user can actually set a target to increase his domesticity score. And after setting a target, we use our AI to suggest products that could actually improve your scoring. People were very happy about this new service, and actually we got feedback where the customers said that this is the first time that I get any value out of my loyalty membership. But people wanted more. People wanted to see the carbon footprint of their purchases, and that was the next phase of our development. But climate change and carbon footprint is quite a tricky concept to an average citizen here in Finland. It is a lot in the media, but when we dig deeper into this, it was only a few of the users who understood what is, for instance, 1 kilogram of CO2 equivalent. That's why we found out that we need to create this very approachable. People need to feel that this is not scary, and they need to understand better that what does it mean if my food choices in grocery store are creating CO2, and how can I affect it? So what we did was that in the end of last year, we launched this new feature called Ilmastotaso, Climate Score and Carbon Footprint Calculator. So here the user can see the total amount of kilograms of CO2 equivalent that his purchases are creating, and then also see that which categories are the biggest ones in that total amount. We also created this translator, so we translate the amount of CO2 equivalent to kilometers driven by car, just to make it more approachable and understandable. Again, the customers got an action, an option to set a target for themselves to improve their climate score. After setting a target, We are educating our customers. We tell them that, okay, what can you do in your daily life to decrease your carbon footprint? We give you tips, like for instance, that if you want to reduce the carbon footprint of your basket, you can change one meat day into one vegetarian day. So these simple things where you can really have an impact. After launching this, our customers were again very happy, but again they wanted more. And already when we started to build this whole service, we had an idea that we need to tap into the health challenges that customers are facing. But that area was also something where we had the most data, and that's why we wanted to postpone it, that we could learn more about the users and then start creating the health and wellness feature when we have an idea that who are actually using this service and who would benefit from that feature. And again, we went to our customers and started to think that how could we raise the awareness of your own health and what kind of things we could show you from your purchase decision. We did quite extensive customer research, and the key takeaways from that are here. First of all, in the core target group, that were usually young parents, more than 60% had tried to make a change successfully or unsuccessfully to their diet. There were many, many, many people who had history with food diaries, food logging, different kinds of methods of trying to change their daily decisions. Then more than 50% of our users are using a fitness tracker. So this was also an insight to us that, okay, actually we are not here to turn someone who is not interested at all about health and wellness, but actually our users already know quite a lot. But what they need is cheering, they need steering, they just need someone to say that, hey, good work. One of the biggest insights for our team was that before starting this customer insight study, we had thought that, okay, we have two paths. We can start talking about macronutrients like proteins, carbs, or we can go the path where we are talking about red meat, vegetables. And when we did this study, we found out that our customers were using more the language of vegetables and red meat and fish. They would like to add more fish in their diet, whereas they would like to decrease the amount of red meat. So this was the single biggest insight that really directed our design work. And I'm happy to tell you that last week we launched this new feature where the customer can see how much red meat, fish, vegetables, salt and sugar their basket is containing. Again, the customer can set a target to himself, and the target is always compared to the national recommendation coming from the authorities. Facts and figures after the first 1.5 years. Almost 9,000 customers have taken part in creating this service. So sincerely, I've been doing this since the day one, and I can tell you that it's been created to the customers, by the customers. We haven't created any single feature without our customers being part of it or wanting it. We have almost 200,000 unique users in this service, and it is growing every day. We also won Grand 1 this year in the category of Best Use of Data. Key learnings so far. What have we learned when creating a database service where you have tremendous amount of data to start with? First of all, empowerment. I think that many of you work in a company that collects data. And I think that it's very healthy to think that does the data that you collect have a power to shape someone's life? If it has, then think about sharing it. If possible, share it. Secondly, I cannot highlight this enough, but understandability. There was more than one time that we went to our customers with a prototype. We thought that the charts and tables were so amazing. And then in the end, the customers didn't know what it was about. So simplicity, value, quality over quantity. And then thirdly, actionability. Creating a situational analysis and fact-based worldview is very important in itself. But if you can, to suggest the next best action, then do it. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Hanna-Reetta. I have the feeling that after I've not been observing, now this is the fourth talk today, but in a series that this is like 6 years of the talks. I've never seen the talks kind of finish up so early. This is kind of totally surprised. I'm not sure if something has happened because of this COVID-19 and remote work years, that people have gotten somehow much more efficient or time sensitive in their presentations. But let's not be bothered by that time. I think we will, once the audience gets used to the idea that they need to start asking the questions before the presentation ends, we'll have more questions. But I might kind of, because you presented so much interesting things regarding what you are kind of able to do, and the kind of potential for a huge impact on the national level is just amazing. As you said that you've been doing this with customers, for customers from the start. Could you a little bit elaborate on different kind of how have you been meeting with customers, and what sort of methods have you been using to kind of get a little bit more like intimate data? Now you've been displaying a lot of figures, but what sort of what other type of interactions have you had with the customers?
Yeah, sure. We use multiple different methods when we are creating products like this, and what we have found very, very helpful have been focus group interviews, inviting our loyalty members together for an evening to our office and then having a good talk with them. Of course, you need to have very good understanding of the schedule and everything that you want to find out, but I think it's been the most fruitful to have those. Now, of course, during COVID, we have not been able to invite anyone to our office. That would be very irresponsible. But what we've done is that we have created these Google Meets with our customers, then sending maybe a sketch link to a prototype, and then talking about those prototypes. Another thing that we have used is that we have a customer community called Kylä. And there we have more than 10,000 customers, and with them we do mainly these quantitative studies. Then one other that I would like to mention is just basic one-to-ones, inviting customers one by one, and then talking about a theme like health. Usually people are more open when it's one-to-one discussion. In focus groups, it can sometimes become like it can become tricky to tell things related to your own health or ideas about what is wellness. So one-to-ones have been really important also in that sense.
So it's pretty like a big mix of a big bag of different type of methods that you kind of mix and choose depending on what kind of interaction you're looking for. Now I see that there's already got a lot of interesting questions, better than mine, coming up. So maybe we'll start with this kind of question that, say you thinking about to develop a new feature. What is kind of evidence that you need in order to really push that feature into the actual production and kind of select it for further development? How do you kind of justify that something's worth doing?
Well, we get a lot of customer feedback, and then we go them through all the time. And then if something becomes like a theme, that you can see that many people are actually mentioning this and wishing for this, then we start to think about that, are we capable of doing anything like that? Then of course it can be just like It can be just like a silent trend that we are seeing that, okay, now actually the plastic is something that is really big theme in there and there and there. Maybe this would be something that we should talk more about with our customers. And then sometimes we just ask that we just create a quantitative study and then just start evaluating different themes through that.
And how much do you follow then once the feature is launched in the actual product? That what is the take up? I mean, it's usually the experience typically is that if you launch some sort of new feature, particularly if you can a little bit push it and market it towards the existing users, they will go and try it out. So initially you have this kind of honeymoon effect that people are kind of interested towards it. How do you kind of follow up on the life cycle and the kind of overall, does it get used? Do you have some sort of process?
Yes, we measure a lot. Different things, and we are measuring each feature, each section, each link that are in the service. So we are measuring a lot, but of course now we have, for instance, with this health and wellness feature, we have only 1 week of data. So we also require quite a long time in order to say that what is popular and what is not, what is only popular because of some sort of a campaign, and what is popular in longer time.
How about COVID-19? Did it kind of have a lot of impact on your users and things that they were looking at?
Well, COVID-19 changed a little bit the kind of the concerns of our customers. So I would say that people now, when they are cooking more at home, health has become more of a topic. What should I feed to my kids in order for them to be healthy? And maybe the climate talk has again become a little bit smaller due to the COVID-19. These are the things that we are kind of seeing, that people are more aware of the security and like the cleanliness of stores and stuff like this, which we cannot really offer in the digital service.
Correct. Yeah. Then there was a question which kind of maybe goes a little bit towards the ethics or the motivation of K-Group to offer this type of service. I mean, the K-Ostokset is kind of just a perfect example of what this type of my data approach can do and empower consumers. But does the K-Group have any public agenda regarding what sort of things you want to kind of promote with this? Is it kind of sustainable consumption, or I mean, you can probably see that if you kind of you're trying to make people more aware of their choices. What sort of do you have like some clear goals on a corporate level? What you'd like to achieve?
Well, we believe that our purpose is to be transparent towards our customers, but of course the customer is doing the choice. So it's we're not pushing anything unless you tell us that you would like to consume more climate-friendly products. Then we start suggesting you that, okay, maybe this one. But we are not doing that unless you tell us that you have a target of decreasing your carbon footprint. So the power is on the consumer side, but of course we are offering lots of options for people with different value bases.
Yeah, I mean, it seems quite natural. A possible design option would be that you would start kind of intentionally recommending people options with which have like a higher margin for the K merchants. Of course, on the other hand, that might also come naturally as people do kind of different type of choices and go for organic or eco-friendly produce and so forth.
I would like to highlight we are amongst the first companies in Finland who have set ethical principles towards how we use our data. And this is a very, very important thing. We are not using our data against our customers only for our profit. We are using it for the customers' profit, for the customer experience, and in all our AI development, for instance, the profitability is not there as a factor.
Yeah, I'm very glad that you took this up. I'm a little bit sorry about poking the topic, but I think it's
very good that you.
Yeah, and I think it's very important for also the kind of for the trust of the customers, so that if they kind of seriously then start following these recommendations in their everyday life. And I think for one in our household, this year has pretty much turned around the kind of regular shopping procedures, and we've been using the K-Ruoka app altogether quite a lot. Although the current integration between the Ostokset and K-Ruoka app is still a little bit missing. Is that going to change somewhere in the near future?
Yeah, well, right now the K-Ostokset part is integrated by using WebView technologies, but in the future we are bringing it to be the native part of the app. So yes.
Good. Glad to hear it's going that direction. Then I have a question from the audience: that how do you approach users who are not regular or keep falling off the app, in terms who can have risk to churn, so to speak, who don't remain active? Do you have some tactics?
We have plenty of different kinds of programs and methods how we try to get people back to our channels, because we see a good correlation between spending time in our digital services and then coming to our stores. So yeah, we have different methods.
There are actually quite a lot of questions, and I unfortunately can't really pick all of them up here, but I think I'm going to take this one, which is a little bit pushing the boundaries, asking about that. Do you kind of take into consideration that, for instance, the information that you have about customers to do any kind of optimization on location in different grocery stores? Does that kind of, I know that in the K chain, it's up to the merchants to decide how they kind of configure their shops. I think in the previous years in the DDD conference, we've heard from Jussi Mantere, who's the lead service designer, about the different kind of data dashboards that they're offering to merchants. But has this kind of relationship gotten anywhere further in terms of that? Have you been thinking about any kind of personalization for the actual regular customers who visit certain stores frequently?
So do you mean that is the assortment personalized in the store, or is the?
Well, yeah, that could be one angle to it.
Yeah, so in our strategy in grocery trade, the core is that every store is different. So every single store is personalized based on the preferences of the clientele in that store. So a store next to my place in Katajanokka is very different than what the K-market is like in the city where I come from, in Kankaanpää. So it's always curated to meet the needs of those people who visit the store. And our retailers, they have a big say on what things are sold in their stores. We are recommending certain things based on the data, but then of course our K-retailers, they are independent entrepreneurs and they can sell what they want.
Thanks, Hanna-Reetta. At this point, I have to kind of thank you once more and thoroughly, because it's been kind of very delightful to hear about all the stuff that goes in the K-Ostokset and all the background work. And I think this is just like once I feel really honored to be a Finnish person who gets to enjoy eventually the kind of benefits of, I said, decades long of data archiving, finally bringing some sort of fruit to our everyday life. So thank you.
Thank you.